Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be discussing my May TBR. So I have 5 books that I would like to finish in the month of May. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. So the first book is actually a classic, and it is off of my classics TBR, which I did a whole video on where I went ahead and created a list of 25 classics that I would like to read over the next couple of years. And book 1 was actually Persuasion, which I had planned on reading in May, but I ended up reading in April. And then I went on my community tab and asked you guys which book that you wanted me to read in May off of my classics TBR. And you all chose Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. This is a story that I am very familiar with. I was obsessed with the 80s TV show, the Canadian TV show, when I was a kid. I bet you I could word for word speak some of those episodes. I watched it so many times. So I cannot believe that I have never read this series. So if you're not familiar with Anne of Green Gables, it follows an orphan named Anne Shirley that is adopted by this older brother and sister pair, and it just kind of goes through her growing up under the care of this elderly couple, and she is extremely bright, extremely talkative, and extremely curious yet mischievous in a way. And I just am really excited to delve into her story. And I got this edition from a used bookstore, and it is a Reader's Digest edition published in 1992. The original story was published in 1908, and I got it for $3. And there are some illustrations in here. So it's kind of a unique book. So I'm glad to get to it and very excited. The next 2 books are books that I'm currently reading, but I know for a fact I'm not going to finish by the end of April, so they're going to roll over into my May TBR. And the first one is The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. This is the second book in the 3-body trilogy, and I'm currently on page 346, so I have a little bit under 200 pages left. If you want to check out my review of The 3-Body Problem, I will link it up in the cards. It is an adult sci-fi series and currently a show airing on Netflix. So the reason I want to get through these books is so that I can keep up with the Netflix show. I think me and my husband watched like episode 5 last night, I believe, and it's already getting into book 2. So the interesting thing about this series is that it is following multiple characters over multiple generations as they are dealing with the oncoming threat of the Trisolarans as they are slowly making their, not slowly, but making their way to Earth to invade Earth and start over as a species. So we're following all of these different characters as they are trying to develop ways to combat the Trisolarans based on the limited technology that they have because of the Sophons. And it's just interesting to see what these different characters come up with. And then another thing that was interesting is we are jumping generations as some of these characters willingly entered hibernation to only awaken 200 years later to see the progress of technology and humanity at that time. So there's a lot of cool technology in here, a lot of philosophical questions. The Wallfacer project is definitely really interesting because the Sophons hear and see everything that people do on Earth, so they have to keep their, machinations secret only to themselves about possible ways they could defeat the aliens. So there's just a lot going on. It's super dense. I'm both physically reading and audiobooking this, and we'll definitely have it finished in the month of May. The next book is Compass and Blade by Rachel Greenlaw, which is the first book in a new YA fantasy series. And I got this book at YALLFest in November. It's an art copy of it, but I think it came out already. Yeah, it came out in March. And I do have a whole video of all the ARCs that I received from YALLFest. I will link that up in the cards if you want to check it out. But I picked this book up on a whim off my shelf the other day, and I have not been able to put it down. Y'all, this book is so cute. So we are following a main character named Mira, and she lives on this island, and it's a small island community, and they make a living by plundering ships that have wrecked off the coast of their island. Sometimes they lure the ships in, but the waters are very treacherous, so a lot of times the ships will, land anyway. So she is one of the people that actually swims out into the ocean and helps to steal things off these ships that have wrecked. And at the beginning of the book, she actually comes across this boy that was on one of the ships and ends up saving his life. So we have kind of like a stranger love interest. Mira is actually different from the other people in her village because her mother was not from this island, and we can infer that her mother had some sort of magical abilities because Mira is able to swim in the water and she is able to navigate the waters like other people don't. I personally think it's going to have something to do with sirens because there is discussions about songs that Mira hears. But one day, Mira's father and their chief elder named Byrne are kidnapped, so Mira enlists the help of this boy that she saved to take her to this main port to kind of help save her father and this chief elder from being hung for stealing cargo off of these wrecked ships. So the reason that I'm liking this book so much is the atmosphere. Like, I love seafaring books. I think that this author created such an atmosphere, and I just feel like I'm on these rocky islands, smelling, tasting, swimming in the ocean. She's doing such a good job. Not to mention, I'm totally invested in Mira and who she is and what her magical ability is going to be. And she just got on a ship and they're sailing these treacherous waters. And it just reminds me of a pirate story, which I'm all about. So if you are someone that really loves seafaring books, I can say this is probably going to be for you, and look for my review when it comes out because I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Next, I wanted to include a thriller just because I really enjoyed The Only One Left by Riley Sager, so now I'm in the mood for more thrillers. So I'm going to be picking up The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I picked this book up from my used bookstore for about $2, and I enjoyed The Silent Patient so much that I feel like hopefully I'll enjoy The Maidens as well. But in this book, we are following the secret society known as the Maidens, which is at Cambridge University. And all of the members of the Maidens are handpicked by this professor of Greek tragedy at Cambridge named Edward. The Maidens of the society are supposed to be the brightest, most high-achieving, have bright future type students. And we are following a previous maiden named Mariana, and she is now a successful therapist. And we're following her story as she is called back to Cambridge once she learns of the murder of one of the current maidens. So what we learn throughout this story is that the secret society of the Maidens, Cambridge University, Mariana's experiences, and this Professor Edward really has some ties to some deep, dark things at this university. So obviously the killer is now targeting Mariana, and she has to do everything she can to protect herself and the one that she loves. So I'm really looking forward to delving back into a good thriller with a good twist, and I'm very excited to read it. And the last book is An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. The reason that I wanted to pick this up is because I didn't want to start a new adult fantasy series because I feel like I'm in the middle of so many of them. And this is actually a standalone, which is really hard to find good adult standalone fantasy books. And this one just sounds like a lot of fun. In An Unkindness of Magicians, we are following a current modern day setting in New York. And there's actually this unseen world of magic that permeates New York. And it is led by these magical houses, and every 20 years they elect someone from their house to essentially compete with the other sorcerers of these magical houses to determine who's going to be in charge for the next couple decades. These competitions are called The Turning, and we are following a character named Ian, and Ian has been chosen to represent his father's house in these magical duels and magical tournaments. And then we follow a new character named Sydney, and Sydney is a candidate picked from House Prospero, which is Ian's family's like rival house, but she's not part of these magical families, and she ends up being extremely powerful and an excellent duelist. So everyone's like, where did this girl come from? Because her type of power has not been seen in decades. And Sydney actually has a secret of her own, and she has come to settle some scores with regards to all of these magical houses. So it sounds like a fun, quick, fast-paced adult fantasy book, standalone, and I'm excited to give it a go. Okay, guys, that is it for my May TBR. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or what you are planning on reading in the month of May, and I will see you all in another video soon. Goodbye!